Hello everyone, this is part 6 of What If Naruto was exiled after he brought Sasuke back, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Undervis. City of Solid Anu. The majestic city was the pearl of the Undervis. It was ruled over by the elemental empress and peace was held in the vast sections of the city. The upper city was above ground and surrounded by the walls. Lowtown and the down zone were sights that needed to be seen. Beyond the walls lay to the east the Estasands, a vast desert. To the west was the spider swamp, home to arachnids of humongous size. Actually they were of all shapes, sizes and colors, but the R's version helped keep tourists out, hopefully. To the north was the lake with no womanizer island with the black tower at its center. And to the south was the valley of mist that led to the frozen tundra. Above Solid Anu was the floating city of Ariel. The only way to reach it was either by flying on an airship, or using the portals that were under guard in the gate rooms scattered around Solid Anu. This was all explained to Naruto and Micah after they'd made their way across the Estasands, only encountering minor fiends in demonic wolves with numerous eyes, and one giant sandworm, but a Rasengan from Naruto destroyed that while Micah and his wind element SD it to pieces. Q just floated along, a happy look on his face. What are you grinning about, Master Q? Naruto asked. Remember to add the proper address at the last moment. Happy to be home is all Kit. Q said. The shade paused and looked out over the vast desert. Shukaku used to love playing here. She would create sandstorms miles in all directions that could LDF from a man in seconds. Shukaku, wait. Naruto stopped walking. You mean the demon Gaara has in him is female? Yup. Q answered with a chuckle. Add in the berserker seal his father put on him and the insane monk sealed with him. I'm amazed the kid is coherent. Shukaku hated sharing, and during that time of the month she would K anyone that talked to her, or even looked at her sideways. Q said with a chuckle. When we get back, do you think we could help them? Naruto asked. I think so, yes. The seal will be no problem I think, but you and Micah for good measure will be working with a seal master once I'm sure your training is underway properly. Q answered after a moment's thought. Master? Micah asked, getting the shade's attention. Yes. I feel weird. Micah said, looking at the shade. My wind element is screaming at me, it feels stronger, wilder, more, shrugs, more. Q sighed and looked around. Let's take a rest against that rock formation. It's out of the sun and gives us ample protection should a sandstorm come up. Once the two boys were seated, Q sat himself as well. There is a stronger connection to all things here in the Undervis. You both will find your chakra is more potent here, and when I begin to teach you how to use Vunla, that will be rich and heady. When we return to your dimension, you both will be a lot stronger than when you left. A lot stronger. Q said, looking both boys in the eyes as he said this. So are you going to explain what Vunla is now, and about Zates? Naruto asked. I might as well. Q said with a nod of his head. Vunla is a living energy force that surrounds us, binds us. It's a part of all things. You, me, the sand we're sitting on, the chakra in your bee. With Vunla you can do things that you once could only possibly imagine. Oh yeah, I can imagine quite a bit. Naruto said with a smirk and Micah chuckled. Barker by T. Q muttered. Kami is testing me with you. I know she's laughing at me. I can feel it. The Fox Lord said under his breath. B is a sore loser at cards. So, Vunla is a source of power, of life. What is it to Zet? Micah asked. Zeta guardians, protectors. Think of them as enforcers of love and peace. Q chuckled at that last one, getting weird looks from his two apprentices. Sorry, just remembered a crazy blonde I knew a millennia or two ago who would spout off about fighting for love and peace. Crazy as a coon, but had a heart as big as a moon. Q watched as the two boys ate ration bars and sipped their water. I will teach you their arts and show you how to manipulate Vunla. With that you can level mountains, manipulate matter. You will be able to use Vunla to enhance your body, manipulate the weak-minded. Snort, well that's nearly all of Konoha. Micah muttered and Naruto sighed. I hate to agree, but the more you think about it. Quaint. Q muttered at his charge's playful nature. I'm putting the power of the universe in the hands of a couple of prank masters from hell. Oi, we aren't that bad, Naruto said. Actually, we are. We did put neon pink dye in Master Kwai's shampoo. Not to mention that blue woad we hit him with. He was reading that book, when he was supposed to train us. Naruto said. I'm not defending him, I'm just saying we do have a rather playful nature. Micah said. You two would have made great kitsunes. Q said and they both looked at him. I said that out loud, did I? Both boys nodded. Right then. Q looked at them. Know that your physical training will continue here. But we'll work on your lessons as well. Bring it on, you crazy fox. We're not afraid, Naruto said, looking at the shade. Q chuckled darkly. Oh, you will be, Kit. You will be. Oh, Togakur. Orochimaru looked at the reports. Your spy says Sasuke has awoken. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. He woke late yesterday. He's been placed in a chakra nullifying cell beneath the tower. Orochimaru sneered. Does that fat-chested overpriced hooker think she can keep me from what I want? Kabuto, send for Danzo and his boy, Sai was it. I have a mission for them and their root force. I think it's time they prove their loyalty to Oto. At once, Lord Orochimaru. The glasses-wearing Mednin says as he leaves the room. Kakukaku. Soon, Sasuke, you will be where you belong. The snake-like eyes looked at another report. I left you with Tsunade till you regained consciousness. Now that has happened, you will become mine. Anyone passing the chamber would have shivered at the chuckling they heard from beyond the closed doors. Konoha. Mato Guy was doing his morning workout. In the 17 months since the exile of Naruto, Guy had become changed. He no longer yelled about the flames of youth. He still wore the green outfit and orange leguamas and his Jonin vest proudly. His team worked without him more now that he led patrols outside the village while they performed D and C ranked missions. He joined them for B and A ranked missions that popped up. Guy had been shocked when he learned of his team's bonding. But he smiled and told them he was happy they had found what made him happy. More than once he'd protected them from other shinobi who judged the young trio for their choices of being a true trio in every way. He learned that Naruto had helped them come together. Guy increased his pace while his mind thought of his team. Lee had calmed a lot being with Neji and Tenten. There was still a competitive edge in their sparring, but Guy was happy to see it brought them together even more. Tenten now was learning taijutsu more. Lee and Neji had convinced her, reminding her of her weakness during the Chunin exam. The pair worked with her, giving her a close-range style where she started using a pair of Pantera claws she'd strapped to her forearms. Try claws like Wolverine. Tenten was now sly at both long and short range. Neji teaching her a style of fighting with help from the Inuzuka boy, Kiba. Neji. Guy paused in his workout. Of his 3 students, he was the most changed. He was more relaxed and smiled more around his friends and around his lovers. He would still put up the cold, indifferent mask around many, but around the Konoha 10 and their senseis he was a changed man. Guy had been surprised when he'd shown up to practice with Kiba and explained, Tenten's in close combat training would be beneficial if she learned the basics of the Inuzuka style and had made a deal with Kiba. Guy was proud of his team. He admitted he was shamed to hear how Kakashi, his longtime friend and rival, had treated Naruto and favored the Uchiha and allowed the Haruno girl to constantly berate and pummel Naruto with no words from him to defend the blonde. If we ever find you, Naruto, I will apologize for not helping you, as you helped my team. I will do all I can to repay the kindness you have done them. You helped Lee at his lowest point, you opened Neji's heart to his teammates and family. You even helped Tenten. Guy had been shocked to learn that Naruto was responsible for keeping Tenten's weapon shop open. The blonde would buy large quantities of kunai, shuriken and exploding tags. Guy and his team learned that Tenten had nearly lost her weapons shop after Naruto's exile, but now the Konoha 10 shopped there exclusively for weapons, as did most of the older Jonin now. The weapons shop near the Hokage's tower had gone out of business after the previous owner came down with a case of being comatose after Hinata hit him with her penance stare after she learned how he'd treated Naruto and sold him defective equipment hoping that it would get him ked. Guy heard that the new wing of the hospital was up to 37 people suffering the effects of the penance stare and Inoki Yamanaka was still working on getting the Haruno girl out of hers. Ino had informed the Konoha 10 and their senseis that Sakura was currently up to age 5. She said her father was having to piece the girl's life together and it was slow going. Guy had seen the older Yamanaka male at the bar shivering and swearing that teenage girls were scary with their thoughts. Guy's lapse took him past the Hokage monument and he looked up seeing Hinata sitting there and he was surprised to see Hanabi there. The pair looked to be relaxed and cordial around one another. Guy passed a training ground next and was surprised to see Kakashi there working out. He slowed down and watched the former Jonin turned Genin going through a series of punches and kicks. Kakashi stopped and swore. Damn it to hell. What is the trouble, Kakashi? Guy asked, watching the former Jonin getting frustrated. Who, Guy. He said in return. What are you doing here? My morning lapse. What are you doing, Kakashi? I've never seen you out and about this early in the day unless forced, and then it's under protest. Kakashi sighed. You ever wish you could go back and do your life over? The more memories of mine that Hinata unlocks, the more I wish she would just end it all. What? Why is that, Kakashi? Guy asked in concern. His former rival looked so defeated. Over the last 17 months I've seen how I treated Naruto since becoming his instructor and I find myself thinking Minato-sensei would be furious with me. It shouldn't have mattered if he was his son, or some boy off the street. I should have treated them all equally. But I allowed my pride in being chosen by the council to train the last Uchiha blind me. With each passing day Hinata is closer and closer to unlocking the mental blocks that were put there after I left Anbu, and I'm afraid what she will see. Will one more memory be my last? Will I like Hiyashi on my knees in the street, my brain splattered in the dirt? Kakashi looked up to the sky. I was furious when she took my Sharingan away from me with that Juken strike. I'd allowed it to define me. I allowed myself to become lazy and overconfident in abilities I stole. Kakashi sighed. 1,000 jutsus I'd stolen, and Hinata has them all in her head now. She took the memories with that stare of hers. She didn't leave me like Sakura, but she left me a genin. I have my SKS, but I no longer have what I stole. And that makes me liberated. Kakashi said, looking at Guy. I pray that whatever memories Hinata unlocks, I pray to Kami she allows me to apologize to Naruto for all the wrongs I've done him before she KS me, or locks me in my mind. Guy looked at him. You've changed, Kakashi. For the better. Kakashi laughed. It took me 17 months to see this guy. Sleepless nights, beatings at Hinata's hands as she opened my memories of the beatings I'd watched Naruto get while being his sensei. Kakashi sighed. I'm afraid, Guy. The mental blocks of what I did as an Anbu, did I do something to Naruto that will push her into taking my life? Do I deserve a second chance? Hell, this would be my third. I wasted my second chance that Rin and Obito gave me all those years ago. Guy put a hand on his former rival's shoulder. We can only deal with one day at a time, Kakashi. Talk with Hinata. Tell her you repent. Tell her you'll accept whatever punishment she sees fit. Tell her that before she administers it to allow you to at least apologize to Naruto. Seek forgiveness, Kakashi. Forgiveness? No. I don't deserve that. I just need to make things right. The Uchiha woke yesterday, Hanabi said while sitting next to Hinata atop the Hokage monument. I know, Hinata said. Right now Lady Tsunade has him in a chakra nullifying cell under the tower awaiting his trial. I am ordered to leave him be till then. Hinata said. How does Jakayla feel about that? Hanabi asked. She was still hesitant about the spirit that shared her sister's body. Jakayla isn't happy with it, but we agreed to see what the new council will do at his trial tomorrow. Hanabi smiled. You going to intimidate them? Hanabi, I let them choose. Free will and all that Kami gave us mortals. I just will enforce my will if the outcome isn't as it should be. Hanabi sighed. I can't believe they are even wasting time with a trial for the Uchiha. He left the village of his own free will, and to join up with an S-class nuke nin. Anyone else would have been executed for treason. If he'd just run away he would be doing a prison sentence, but his attempts to join Orochimaru and his attack of a leaf nin have moved it to execution, but you were right. Anyone other than the Uchiha and the sentence would have been carried out the moment he was brought back. I see why you hate more and more of the villagers as the days pass, Nei-chan. Hanabi said sadly. I heard some of them discussing your Naruto, they blame him for what you've done. Many of them think he's bewitched you. Hinata sighed. Blind fools. She looked at Hanabi. They make it harder and harder to keep Jakela from enacting his vengeance. It doesn't help that the host prior to me was Naruto-kun's mother, and my own emotions make it hard to keep from attacking them. Hanabi put a hand on her shoulder. He will come back. Hinata half sobbed and chuckled. Why should he? He was exiled. He thinks the woman he saw as an aunt or mother figure signed his exile. The previous council told him they would have him executed should he return. He doesn't know I care. I was too much of a coward to tell him, and now. Hanabi's slap shocked Hinata. Why are you doubting now? What happened to the Hinata who's been a force of nature around Konoha these last 17 months? Hinata cradled her stinging cheek. I've seen the aura of many in the village. They are happy Naruto-kun is gone. There aren't many that want him back. The Konoha 10, Konohamaru, the Jonin senseis, a few Chunin, Anbu, Ichiraku's Tsuki and Ayami, Jiraiya, Shizune and Lady Tsunade are about it. I want him back, Hanabi said, and Hinata looked at her in surprise. I want him back because it would make you happy. Everything I've heard or have learned about Uzumaki, I want him back because he is special to you, Hinata Ne-chan. Because of him Neji Oniazan is happy. Because of him you found courage to stand up to Hiashi and freed the Hyuga family from their own blindness. Hanabi looked out over Konoha. I want him back, because he is special to Konohamaru-kun. I miss seeing him laugh and smile. Since Uzumaki's exile, Iruka-sensei and Konohamaru-kun no longer smile or laugh. They pull pranks on those that insult Naruto Uzumaki, but they do not laugh at them. Hanabi looked at Hinata. You have changed for him, and I think should he return, you will blossom even more. I want to see my older sister shine. I want to see you truly smile, Hinata Ne-chan. Your Uzumaki can do that, then I will use whatever means I have as the new leader of the Hyugas to make it happen. Hanabi. He will come back, Hinata Ne-chan. Even if I have to order every member of the family to hunt him down and drag him back here to lay at your feet. He makes you Hinata. Hanabi rose. And I like seeing my older sister happy. Hanabi turned and walked away, leaving Hinata to sit stunned, and to ponder what she would do. Konoha. All rise. A Chunin called out. The viewing seats were filled to the bursting point as all of Konoha had turned out to witness the trial of Sasuke Uchiha. The council filed in and Tsunade took her seat wearing full Hokage robes and that ridiculous hat she hated. Anbu was stationed around the chamber and Tsunade saw the Konoha 10 in the viewing seats. Her eyes looked for Hinata, but couldn't find her, which put her on edge. Be seated. The Chunin called out. Tsunade sighed. Bring in the accused. She wanted to say the condemned because that's what the Uchiha was, but the council had fought tooth and nail to give him a trial, and they insisted that he was innocent until proven guilty. Proven guilty. The little S-Stain ran off to join Orochimaru and nearly killed a team sent to bring him back. Tsunade thought as the Uchiha was brought in, he had the chakra repressing cuffs on his wrists and a pair of Anbu on either side of him with one behind, hand on a sword. She saw someone had given him fresh clothes and he looked like he was here for an interview. Thrice damned fools. I told them no one was to see him. Mental note, find out who was guarding him last night and this morning and have them demoted to Genin doing D-ranked missions for life. Tsunade thought. Of course, as smug as the new council, they all think that hell will freeze over before they get blamed for anything. The Uchiha was placed in a seat in the middle of the chamber and his chakra cuffs were chained to the arms of the chair. Sasuke Uchiha, former Genin of Konoha, you are accused. Objection. All eyes turned to see a man in a black kimono and carrying a scroll walk up. He had long black hair and Tsunade sighed. Lawyers. Fiends of the highest order. Who are you? Koharu, the third's former teammate, demanded. Wechitam Anno. Attorney for the defense. The lawyer said, I am here to have these ridiculous charges against my client dropped, and his status cleared. Accusing him of trumped-up charges. Anno-san, who summoned you here this day? Tsunade asked. I did, Tsunade. The Godime Hokage turned and fixed a level glare upon the Haruno. Why? Because this is a mockery. Sasuke Uchiha was under duress and it was the King intent flashed across the chamber and Haruno fell silent as another figure stepped into the middle of the chamber. Hinata was wearing black pants, a black crop top under a mesh shirt. She wore spiked braces and her gloves had spikes on the knuckles. Her skin was white as snow, her hair and eyes black as night, the veins around her eyes showing she had the Byakugan activated. The only mockery here is this farce of you trying to allow this trash to escape justice. The cold voice of Hinata sending chills around the chamber. Tell me, Haruno, you doing this because you actually believe the swill coming out of your mouth, or is it because you hope to impress the team here enough that he would consent to marry your gutter shill you call a daughter? You go too far, demon whore. The red-haired male yelled. I don't go far enough. And here I thought Sakura got her volume from her mother. HN. Learn something new every day. Hinata Vengeance stopped several feet away from Sasuke and eyed the nervous Anbu. You let the snake of a lawyer near the Uchiha, but not the apprentice of the Hokage. Tsunade looked at the lawyer the second Hinata mentioned the word snake. Does she see something with her Byakugan? The fifth Hokage wondered. It matters not. This trial is a farce. One set up by the weak-willed council members who believe that the sun shines out of the Uchiha's ass. Exclamations are heard and Tsunade is fighting hard to keep herself from laughing at the gathered council, while the people in the gallery outright chuckle and laugh. I object, the lawyer said. Overruled. Hinata Vengeance said, not even looking at the man. As I was saying, this trial is a farce. If any other member of the Konohagake or ninja forces had left like the Uchiha, they would have been imprisoned for desertion, and for attempting to join an S-class nuke nin, would have been immediate execution. Tsunade nodded and shot the council a look. They had continued to override her on the issue of the Uchiha. She blocked their attempts to give him a pardon. Hinata speaks the truth, Chuma Inuzaka said from her seat. The clan heads were here as well and she was looking at the new civilian council with disdain. Hanabi Hyuga was next to her and she was staring at the council as well. The Haruno stood. We all know that Sasuke was being controlled by the curse mark. Why Jiraiya of the Sannin hasn't removed it yet makes this council wonder if this is the Godime's ploy to pave the way for her pet demons. Shouting filled the chamber and Tsunade narrowed her eyes. She saw the lawyer speaking with the Uchiha and her eyes narrowed. Anbu, move that man back. She ordered and two of them went to do so. I have a right to speak with my client. Anno said stepping back before either Anbu reached him. Speak with him all you wish, at a distance and no physical contact. Abiki Morino said stepping forward with Anko Mitarashi. The special Jonin were glaring at the attorney and Anko had a kunai in her left hand. Tsunade focused back on the rest of the room. There will be order, or I will have the chamber cleared. People muttered lowly as they settled down. The Konoha 10 were looking none too happy with the civilian council. Are they really this stupid? Ino asked in disbelief. No, they just are blinded by the past deeds of a once great clan. Shikamaru said from where he was sitting next to Choji. Akamaru got a whiff of that lawyer, he said he smells funny. Kiba said from where he was holding Akamaru in his jacket. He does look rather slimy, even for an attorney. Asuma said from his seat behind the genin. Shush. This isn't over. Shikamaru said looking on. His father in his council seat had given him a sign to pay attention. Enough. Tsunade roared, slamming her hand on the booth before her shattering it. Lady Hokage, the lawyer said, having her focus on him. She glared at him, not liking this man at all. If you would please allow Sasuke-kun here a chance to defend himself, I'm certain what he has to say will be most enlightening. Tsunade was going to refuse outright, but he council were agreeing to it. She looked at the clan leaders who shook their heads. This is payback for making them actually work, she thought. Make it brief, she ground out between her clenched teeth. She was not liking this with each passing moment, and it felt off. Oh, it will be Tsunade, Anno said, giving her a bow. It was his tone, the way he'd said her name. Anbu, secure the prisoner. She yelled while getting to her feet. Anno kicked one of the Anbu aside and there was an explosion from the floor. As the smoke cleared, Hinata was fighting 6 Oto nins. Tsunade cursed seeing Danzo with a bright silver arm emerge from the hole in the floor backed by his root squad. Shizune, IRUKA, evacuate the civilians. Tsunade yelled and she ducked a hail of shuriken from a strange Oto nin that's arm was replaced by something metallic with AS in the palm. She watched as it launched shuriken rapidly at Konoha nin that were coming into the fight while trying to get around the panicking civilians. Tsunade swore and drew her hand back, sent a shockwave through the ground with a punch, hoping to distract the sound ninja from attacking the crowd. Damn Orochimaru. I should have thought he wouldn't let the Uchiha go. She thought as she struck a sound nin hard enough to put him through a wall. Tsunade saw the Konoha 10 were fighting around Hinata. She nodded, glad to see they were fighting like a well-oiled machine. Her gaze found Danzo picking up an unconscious Uchiha and dropping back into the hole in the ground. Anko, she yelled, getting the special Jonan's attention. Gather everyone, we need to drive them back, and take out as many of them as possible. Before the snake Jonan could respond, 2 black cobras the size of trees came out of the hole in the ground, their hoods opened and their fangs dripping. Damn it! Tsunade cursed and her hands flew through the motions. Kuchiyoose no jutsu. A blast of smoke and 2 slugs appeared the size of 2 large bears. Stall them, she ordered, not giving him a chance to greet her. She spun and her fist connected with a sound ninja's chest and she felt the man's ribs shatter as he slammed into the seating area and didn't rise. She turned and saw that Orochimaru was standing by the hole now with his personal assistant Kabuto. He held up the shed skin from the lawyer's face he'd been wearing and after twiddling his fingers at her he dropped back into the hole. Son of a, he has new arms. Damn it to hell. Tsunade and the others were pushing the raiding nin back and as each one fell they got closer to the hole that had been used to tunnel into Konoha. Tsunade and Hinata reached the hole only to jump back as it was suddenly filled with molten rock and sealed. Damn it. Both women cursed. They turned and saw that the sound nin were S and the 2 cobras vanished in puffs of smoke as the slugs hit them with acid. They got away. She clutched her fist tightly. That damn snake in the grass. Tsunade looked around. Report. She barked. 10 wounded, 4 S, and they took the Uchiha. Aruka said, glaring at the now sealed hole. They have an earth user. Abiki said, squatting next to the cooling rock. Hinata was glaring at it and then turned. Don't even think about it, Hinata. Tsunade said, catching her at the doorway. They took the Uchiha. After everything that Naruto went through and was exiled for, Orochimaru still got his toy, and Naruto is still gone. This is too troublesome, but did anyone notice several members of the council were ducking before the explosion? Shikamaru asked. The growl from Hinata sent chills down those still standing's backs and in a special corner of hell, Lucifer looked around and asked, okay, who played with the thermostat again? Undervis. Solid Anu. Lowtown. Naruto sighed as he put away the last of his gear. He'd been amazed that the guards at the gates had allowed them through. Q gave them a brief tour. He pointed out the aerodome and Micah and Naruto had stood transfixed as airships lifted off and flew in the sky. Lodestones. They, along with stones with wind stones, give the ships the ability of flight. Q had told them. Naruto had been amazed at the various species that lived in Solid Anu. There were humans, demons in animal form, half-breeds and more of all shapes and sizes. Demons when in town are size restrictions. It's all a part of the treaty signed about 10,000 years ago. Q said, getting his apprentices to follow him. The bazaar was a sight to see as vendors sold everything from weapons and food to scrolls and clothes and jewelry. Micah had stopped watching children playing a strange game with a ball in a huge orb of water. How are they breathing underwater? He asked. Q paused and smiled. Ah, gravity ball. See the chokers each player is wearing? He asked, and after a moment the 2 gave him a nod. They are spelled to give them the ability to breath underwater. I'm sure you'll pick that up as well in your free time. Q said, motioning for them to continue. Some of the players have gills and can breath in and out of water. Some of the mere people live in the lake to the north. He said, and Naruto had seen a girl in the game with slight webs on her hands and feet. He squinted and saw gills on her and noticed her skin held a slightly blue tint. Stop ogling girls, you can do that on your time. Q said, and Naruto bleached. I wasn't ogling girls, master. I just was seeing some of the mere people you were talking about. He pointed and Q squinted. Ah, Triton's youngest. Good eye, Kit, but she's a couple centuries older than you. Q teased and Micah chuckled while Naruto growled. The tour around Solid Anu had lasted hours. When Naruto asked what next, Q drifted towards an alley and stopped outside a small stone building that looked like it would be one room only. These are portal rooms. Now you need a travel pass to reach the floating city, but you can take them to Lowtown with no problems. What about the down zone? Micah asked. There is only one portal and that is under guard in Lowtown. Q said. Now, both of you come on. Quarters are waiting in Lowtown. How do you know that, master? Micah asked. Simple. I maintain residence here since I was younger than you both. Q chuckled. And trust me, everyone knows that a section of Lowtown is mine. Now come on. The Fox Den should be moderately busy this time of day. You store your gear and we'll get some real food, and not that noodle crap you like. I mean steak and sauce. Both boys could see the shade seem to drool at the thought, and they shared a look before laughing and entering the small building. The pentagram in a circle surprised them. Micah looked up and saw a matching one on the ceiling. A guard stood to the side, a bored look on his face. Naruto looked at him and saw he was a man-dog. He wore leather armor with a helm of metal. A long spear was against the wall next to him. Once in the circle, Q smirked as they vanished in a flash of light. Naruto thought that had been the coolest thing ever. Definitely need to get something like that in, he sighed, remembering his thought was to bring it back to Konoha. Damn it, why can't I let go? It's been 17, nearly 18 months. Why can't I stop thinking about it and calling it home? Naruto finished unpacking. The Fox Den was a bar in Lowtown. Naruto nearly jumped out of his skin when they entered and saw it was busy. Kitsunes of all sizes were in there. They damn near stampeded in, greeting Q and asked what the hell happened to him. The Shade spent time explaining to his people what had happened and introduced Micah and Naruto as his bitee. One kitsune, Shippo, a teenaged-looking kitsune, was drunk and asked, "Why the F does the short S there smell like you, QB? You into boys again?" That had gotten the teenage-looking kitsune pummeled by several vixens, and QB chuckled as he watched. "No, Shippo. And being into boys was your thing. You followed that half-breed dog Hanyu around for centuries." "Bite me," Shippo said weakly from where he lay after being beaten down by several angry female kitsune. The training area behind the bar had Naruto looking on in envy. Micah too had a glazed look while Q laughed. "You think you're excited now? Wait till the pain starts," Q warned them. He had them go get changed and said they would begin with light meditation, then workout, then more meditation. "And after that, I'm going to have you spar against each other in taijutsu and kenjutsu," Q told them. "But we don't have swords," Naruto reminded him. Q motioned and two black wooden bokken floated into the air from a rack and floated to Naruto and Micah. "Till I tell you otherwise, you will be using these. They are similar to what Kwai had you using. The shock will be greater and will leave genjutsu marks indicating cuts. They are both indestructible and you will be carrying them and using them around solid Anu," Q warned them. "You can carry a minimum of 6 kunai and 2 dozen shuriken." "What? But that's under-equipped, especially with those fiends out there in the wilds," Naruto complained. "The fiends in the wilds won't be your concern for a while. Your first 3 months is going to be learning to connect with Vulna and how to wield it. You won't be going into the wilds anytime soon. You might be doing errands in the upper city to earn cash. Or working the bar." "What? That's cheap," Naruto said, and Micah agreed. "Don't you have your kitsune running the bar?" Micah asked. "I do. But you two would be waiting tables or doing dishes." The shade of QB was glad he was transparent, as the two bokken would have taken his head and his manhood if he hadn't been a ghost. "I think it's going to be a long couple of months," QB thought as he used a telekinetic push to knock both apprentices off their feet, while he summoned up 3 more bokken and they hovered in the air before him. "Prepare yourselves, here comes the pain." He laughed at the look on both their faces as they used their hard-earned teamwork to fight off the 3 blades. Naruto's howl of pain and indignation was funny when the first bokken struck him on the ass, leaving a ragged-looking genjutsu wound and shocking him numb to the point where he fell face-first into the dirt as his legs wouldn't support him. "Shameful. I thought you two were good," Q taunted as Micah fought to keep all 3 blades at bay, and seconds later his own howl of pain filled the air as he got hit on the rear by one and another smacked his hand and he fell to the dirt next to Naruto, his bokken falling from his wounded hand and nearly hitting Naruto, but missed by a mere inch and leaving a scorch mark on the dirt. "Okay, 5-minute break and we'll try that again," Q said as he floated away. The 2 boys growled as they watched the shade of their new sensei flirt with a couple of vixens that were watching and laughing. "I really hate him right now," Naruto groaned. "Ditto," Micah said as he massaged his wounded hand. "Did you catch how he did that?" "No, you," Naruto answered and asked. "Not a clue." "This is so going to suck," Naruto groaned as he massaged his numb backside as the genjutsu wounds faded. "More than a Uchiha stealing jutsus," Micah agreed. "Dude, no one sucks that much, well except Grandma Tsunade at poker." Naruto said after a moment's thought. Well, I did hear she earned the nickname Legendary Sucker, and it wasn't from her losing streak at first. Both boys laughed. Konoha. Tsunade was besieged by a sneezing fit. Whoa, Shizune said, holding the paperwork away from her sensei. Someone's really talking about you. Shut up and give me a tissue. Tsunade said. Jiraiya or Orochimaru must be talking about that night of strip poker. Damn them both and that thing camera. Tsunade thought as she sneezed again. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.